Jarrod Schulz is widely known for his appearance on Storage Wars, where he became one half of one of the show's most recognizable duos. To many viewers, he represented the underdog story, a man who had faced legal troubles early in life, rebuilt himself through hard work, and eventually found success on reality television. Alongside Brandi Passante, he helped turn storage auction bidding into mainstream entertainment and built a brand that felt relatable and authentic. But behind the edited moments seen on television, Jarrod's life reportedly carried a far more complicated and turbulent history. Over the years, accounts of his early legal issues, business setbacks, relationship breakdowns, and later public controversies have painted a picture of a man constantly balancing redemption and relapse into instability. His journey has often been described not as a straight line upward, but as a cycle of reinvention followed by collapse. This rewritten narrative explores that arc in detail: his early struggles, time in the justice system, rise to fame, financial challenges, and personal conflicts that allegedly followed. It is a story shaped by ambition, pressure, and the difficulty of maintaining stability in the public eye. 1. Early legal troubles and a life off course before television fame. Jarrod Schulz's life reportedly included serious legal difficulties that would later define how his early adulthood unfolded. In the late 1990s, he was arrested on drug-related charges involving methamphetamine, according to public records and later commentary about his past. This period marked a turning point, as he moved from youthful instability into direct contact with the criminal justice system. Reports indicate that he initially received a relatively lenient sentence, including jail time followed by probation. However, shortly after his release, he was allegedly arrested again on additional charges, including driving under the influence and possession-related offenses. This second incident significantly changed the trajectory of his case, as the court viewed it as a violation of trust and a pattern of repeated behavior rather than an isolated mistake. As a result, he was sentenced to a longer period in state custody, serving approximately 16 months in prison. While incarceration is often described differently depending on the source, this period reportedly exposed him to a harsh environment that forced reflection on his future choices. By the time he was released, he had a felony record and limited professional opportunities, but also a stated determination to avoid returning to that lifestyle. 2. Prison time and the beginning of reflection. Jarrod Schulz's time in state custody is often described as a formative period that reshaped his outlook on life. According to various retellings of his history, the experience exposed him to individuals with far more severe criminal backgrounds, which made him confront the consequences of continued poor decisions. This environment reportedly played a role in pushing him towards self-reflection. While prison is not typically associated with transformation alone, many accounts suggest that Jarrod used the experience as a turning point. He was still relatively young when he completed his sentence, and upon release, he faced the challenge of reintegrating into society with a criminal record that limited his opportunities. Rebuilding his life required starting over in low-profile jobs. He eventually found work in sales, including a position in the service industry, where he began to regain stability. This phase of his life is often portrayed as the foundation of his eventual comeback, though it was far from glamorous. Instead, it involved long hours, financial uncertainty, and the pressure of proving he could function outside the justice system. Despite setbacks, this period marked the beginning of a shift toward responsibility and consistency, setting the stage for his future relationship and business ventures. 3. Meeting Brandi Passante and building a family. A major turning point in Jarrod Schulz's life came when he met Brandy Passante while working in a retail and service environment. Their relationship developed quickly and became both personal and professional. Unlike many relationships formed under similar circumstances, theirs evolved into a shared partnership that included raising a family and building businesses together. They eventually had 2 children, Cameron and Peyton, and built a household that appeared stable from the outside. Brandy, in many accounts, played a grounding role in Jarrod's life, encouraging structure and responsibility. Together, they attempted to establish financial independence through entrepreneurial efforts. One of their early ventures included a second-hand store, which represented their shared ambition to build something long-term outside of traditional employment. Although the business had modest beginnings, it reflected their desire to create stability for their family. However, the pressures of financial responsibility, combined with Jarrod's past and the demands of entrepreneurship, created ongoing stress within the relationship. While they presented a united front, accounts suggest that challenges were already forming beneath the surface long before fame entered the picture. 4. Business failures and the collapse of stability before reality television fame. Jarrod Schulz and Brandy Passante attempted to build financial stability through entrepreneurial work, including a thrift and resale business. At the same time, Jarrod reportedly explored opportunities in mortgage-related work during a booming housing market, which initially brought financial promise. However, the broader economic downturn in the late 2000s had a significant impact on many small business owners, including their ventures. The collapse of the housing market reportedly led to the failure of Jarrod's mortgage-related income stream, leaving the couple under financial strain. Their second-hand store business also faced challenges. Despite expansion attempts and increased visibility later through television exposure, the physical locations eventually struggled to remain profitable. One store reportedly closed after limited success, while another location also failed to sustain operations long-term. These setbacks reinforced a recurring pattern in Jarrod's life narrative: periods of rapid progress followed by sudden collapse. Although television would later provide financial stability, these early business failures contributed to ongoing pressure within his personal and professional life. 5. Storage wars and sudden fame. Jarrod Schulz's public recognition began when he and Brandy Passante joined Storage Wars, a reality television series centered on storage auction bidding. The couple quickly became known as the Young Guns, a nickname reflecting their relatively lower budget compared to more experienced bidders. Their on-screen dynamic, marked by humor, tension, and visible disagreement, made them stand-out personalities on the show. Viewers connected with their relatability and competitive spirit, which helped boost the show's popularity significantly. As the series gained traction, Jarrod transitioned from small business owner to television personality. At the height of the show's success, reports suggest he earned substantial income per episode, and the exposure opened doors to public appearances and brand recognition. The couple's popularity even led to a spin-off series that focused on their relationship and business life. For a period, it appeared that Jarrod had achieved long-term success, financial stability, fame, and family life all aligned. However, as with earlier phases of his life, maintaining that stability proved more complicated than achieving it. 6. Fame, pressure, and business struggles. Despite television success, Jarrod Schulz and Brandy Passante continued to struggle with their physical business ventures. Their thrift store expansions, including additional locations, did not achieve sustained profitability. Even with the promotional advantage of being television personalities, The stores reportedly failed to generate enough revenue to remain open long term. These business closures contributed to ongoing stress, as they represented missed opportunities for long-term independence beyond television income. While reality TV provided visibility and financial support, it also came with pressure to maintain a public persona and ongoing filming commitments. The contrast between public success and private business failure created tension in their narrative. On screen, they were successful personalities. Off-screen, they were still navigating the challenges of entrepreneurship and financial uncertainty. This period also marked increasing strain in their personal relationship, as financial instability and career pressure reportedly affected their ability to maintain harmony at home. 7. Relationship breakdown and separation. After years together, Jarrod Schulz and Brandy Passante eventually separated, marking a significant shift in both their personal and professional lives. Although they continued to appear in some shared contexts after their breakup, the relationship itself had ended. The separation reportedly affected not only their romantic life, but also their business partnership and parenting structure. Brandy later indicated in interviews that she often carried much of the parenting responsibility, which contributed to the growing distance between them. As they moved into separate lives, they attempted to maintain a cooperative relationship for the sake of their children and shared history. However, emotional tensions and unresolved issues reportedly lingered. The breakup marked the end of a defining era for both individuals. For Jarrod, it meant losing not only a partner, but also a key part of his public identity on Storage Wars. For Brandy, it meant redefining her life outside of the long-standing partnership that had shaped much of her adult years. 8. The alleged bar incident and public conflict, one of the most widely discussed post-separation moments involving Jarrod Schulz, reportedly occurred at a bar in Orange County, California. According to accounts circulating at the time, Jarrod and Brandy encountered each other while she was out with friends. Reports suggest that an argument broke out between them, escalating into a loud and emotional confrontation. Witness accounts described raised voices and tension between the two, with the situation becoming disruptive enough that it drew attention from others present. It has also been reported that law enforcement was involved or at least referenced in connection with the incident, though details vary depending on the source. The situation was ultimately diffused, but it drew public interest due to their shared television history. Because both individuals were public figures, the encounter was widely discussed online, often framed as a symbolic breakdown of their long and complicated relationship. However, like many celebrity-related incidents, details remain inconsistent across reports and should be treated cautiously. 9. Life after fame and uncertainty ahead. In the years following Storage Wars and the end of his long-term relationship, Jarrod Schulz has largely maintained a lower public profile. While he remains associated with his television past, he has not been a central figure in recent major media productions. His public narrative has shifted from rising television personality to someone more often discussed in the context of past success and personal controversy. Like many reality television figures, his fame was intense but relatively concentrated in time, leaving questions about long-term direction afterward. What remains consistent in accounts of his life is the theme of instability followed by reinvention attempts. Whether in business, relationships, or public image, his story is frequently framed as cyclical rather than linear. Conclusion: a life defined by cycles, not final chapters. Jarrod Schulz's story is often simplified into a rise and fall narrative, But the reality appears more complex. From early legal troubles to television fame, from business failures to personal breakdowns, his life reflects a series of reinventions shaped by both opportunity and instability. While public attention often focuses on dramatic moments, the broader picture is one of continuous transition between success and setback, stability and disruption. His journey highlights how fame does not necessarily resolve underlying personal or financial challenges, and how past experiences can continue to influence present outcomes. Ultimately, his story remains unfinished. Whether viewed as cautionary or redemptive, it continues to evolve beyond the spotlight that first made him widely known.